It's Channel I Action News Team. Imaginary numbers, real stories. Here's leading anchor Ian Teagrol.
Good evening. These are our top stories tonight. Several amusement park attendees were injured this past weekend in a roller coaster accident. The creators of the ride blamed that damn chain rule for the accident. Today was National Donut Day, and Starbucks across the country have run out of coffee mugs as topologists join in on the festivities. All these stories and more later tonight. But first, we go to breaking news out of Bangladesh, where our foreign correspondent Graham Schmidt is on the scene.
Thanks, Ian. I'm here in Cox's Bazar in Bangladesh, and we are in one of the many refugee shelters that house the Rohingya people migrating from Myanmar from the east. This area of Bangladesh is now home to the largest refugee camp in the world, and the crisis is only growing. The Rohingya people have been fleeing from Myanmar by the thousands due to the horrendous persecution that they have suffered at the hands of the Burmese government. The military of Myanmar has engaged in a horrific campaign of violence in which they have burned down villages, separated families, and killed thousands. The Rohingya people have long been discriminated against in Myanmar for their ethnic background and their practicing of the Muslim religion. Although this tragedy continues to occur in Myanmar, we are now seeing a turning of the tides in the countries surrounding Myanmar dealing with the flow of refugees. Before, we were seeing overcrowded refugee camps and inhumane conditions, but now, thanks to some targeted help coming from the US military, we have seen a great improvement in the handling of these people who have lost their home.
Thanks, Graham. Next, we go to a clever high school student who was integral in helping to address the refugee crisis. Here, we have Alec, math god, Exia. Yep.
Thanks, Ian. Hello, everybody. I'm Alec, the math student that was able to help the US military solve this refugee crisis. So the problem we were facing was that we couldn't get the correct resources and personnel in the right place at the right time. So in order to solve this problem, we used math that we learned from Miss McNamee's linear algebra class.
The US government knew how many refugees would move between the countries, but the problem was to keep track of the people over long periods of time. To start off the problem, my group and I drew a diagram to illustrate the flow of refugees. The countries that are represented by the first letter of their name are the countries that are relevant, and countries that are not relevant to the problem but are traveled to are represented by other. The next step was to create 4 recursion equations that show the number of refugees per month. The variables represent Myanmar, Bangladesh, Indonesia, and Thailand respectively. Each equation consists of a percentage of refugees flowing into the country added to the remaining percentage of refugees. In order to make the equations recursive, the variable has a subscript of k plus 1, which is the sum of refugees from the previous month k. Thirdly, the goal of our system is to transform xk to xk plus 1, since we are trying to track the refugees each month. This means that our equations can be used as a transformation matrix shown in matrix A. Next, we found the eigenvalues and vectors for matrix A. We did this because we can use them to create an equation that will be able to produce values for each of the countries based on any k, which will be shown later in our solution. We used an online calculator to find our values, which are shown on the screen above. The final missing variable in our equation is the c values, which can be found through a system of equations. For this, we can use an augmented matrix shown above to solve the system and find the c values. Now that we know the c, eigenvalue, and eigenvector, we can finally solve the equation shown on page 304. This is also on the top of your screen after equation. So now we can plug in any k to find the number of refugees in each country for that month. This equation can be used to help the US distribute the resources to the places that need them the most, since the refugee population between the states are constantly shifting. Since the problem started in August of 2017, k is equal to the number of months since then. The first answer the US wanted to know is where they should be prepared to support the most refugees in August of 2019. Since August 2019 is 24 months away, setting k to 24 in our equation would give us the populations in each of the countries. After some quick calculations, the US was able to figure out that Bangladesh had the most refugees this summer, August 2019, thanks to me and my team's help. In August 2024, when k is set to 84, Bangladesh still holds the highest number of refugees, which means that the US must again emphasize the resources sent to that country. Since Bangladesh can only support 600,000 refugees and Thailand can only support 20,000, it is also important for the US to know when these numbers will be achieved. Instead of plugging in K and solving for the population, solving for K will allow the US find dates when these countries reach their goal refugee population. For this, we looked at specific equations for Bangladesh and Thailand shown on the screen. As a result, Bangladesh reaches their goal in December of 2020, and Thailand has already in January of 2019.